with my friend Tyler, and I'm going to be conducting an interview with him. He loves movies, he owns tons of movies. I've had numerous conversations with him about movies, and all the things that he has to say are really interesting. And I thought it was time I actually conducted a formal interview and got some of it on tape. So here we go. Hey Tyler, how you doing?
Okay. How about
Good.
yourself?
I'm doing very well.
All right.
So, how have movies and film changed over the years?
I feel like movies over the years have become unoriginal and lazy.
How so?
I believe that in order to make a good movie, you have to start with the screenwriting process. And if you don't get good screenwriters, or you don't spend time writing a screenplay, then a movie is doomed to be not as good as it could possibly be. And um, and that's where I feel over time, filmmaking has become lazy in screenwriting, and that leads to not good movies. Well,
So, what are some of the most common mistakes that screenwriters, production companies make in terms of movies? How does the laziness show itself in the film?
well, besides the obvious, just reusing stories that have been previously told, um, there's also cliches and leaving giant gaping plot holes in the story. For example, cliches, the horror movie genre, um, is one giant cliche. There's nothing really original about horror movies anymore. Um, you can always tell what a movie's going to be by the trailer, because usually it's people being stuck in a house for some reason they can't leave. That's the number one cliche of all, right there. Things like the lights are out, let me walk into a dark room, or let me call the cops, but the cops are stupid. And then plot holes too. Plot holes kind of take people out of movies, and that's not what you're supposed to do at all when you're filmmaking, because plot holes are not good.
So, I mean, the longer that film is going on, I mean, the harder it is for them to create their own ideas. Do you believe that maybe it's just creativity is kind of taking a hit, or that there's always going to be creative ideas? There's no excuse for reusing storylines, content.
Um, there is while original stories are harder to come by, just in general, because everything's really been done before. Every story's been told. People have said that. And that's kind of true. Um, Filmmakers can at least try and make things different. Like if you're going to make a remake, don't just throw more CGI or action into it, because that's not going to change anything. They should build upon the original and try to make it better, instead of just making more 3D effects and action. There are good stories. I mean, there are stories out there that have been told before, but can be told again. Still making it still more engaging. For example, the Batman movies lately. The comics have been around since the 1930s, and the new Batman movies made it more realistic and darker and whatnot, and that's one example of making an idea that's already been out there, but making it fresh and new and engaging.
So would you say part of being successful in film nowadays is adapting to your audience?
Yes. And no, because most people just prefer big, loud, dumb noise. For example, Michael Bay movies are just that. They Same thing with James Cameron movies now. They just big flashy things in front of you, but it's the same story. It's Pocahontas in space. It's not anything new at all, besides colorful worlds and 3D effects. Like it doesn't make a good movie, I feel.
So, what's a film that's come out recently that you would recommend as a good example of good screenwriting?
I would have to go a few years back to 2010, Inception. Now, while that's not the most 100% original movie that has come out lately, it is an example of how, even though with big effects and um, intense music and all that, it all comes down to the story. And and even beyond how the movie has basically makes you think the entire way. Like there's no breaks at all. You just got to keep thinking about what's going on and like you got to keep up. But the very basic level of that movie, it's a good story, and that's what sells the movie. That's what makes it amazing.
Awesome.